Chef Toya, thank you so much for being with us today. We're so happy to have you on Well Put It Wednesday. You are someone that we had wanted to hear from for a while. So we're very grateful that you were willing to spend some time with us today. Every week, we interview a female that we find to be interesting and brave. And so we'd just love to hear more about your story if you have a few minutes.
Oh, for sure. Thank you for having me as well. I'm excited to speak with you all. And, about me, born and raised New Orleans, it's veins like Ivy Tap. So both my parents were born and raised uptown as well. I come from a line of great cooks and artists, and that's me in a nutshell. I'm a great cook, I'm a chef, and I'm an artist, and I'm a visual artist as well. And we have 4 children, ranging from all age brackets, from one turning 22 and a senior in college at Dillard University, and then we have a high school student, 15 now. He just had a birthday December, and then the 7-year-old just turned 8 in December. We have 2 December birthdays, so December is popping. And then we have the one who we just turned 3 Monday. So we have girls. Yeah, man. So it's rocking.
Okay, so tell me how you built your business. I guess you have several businesses, but you have a spice line that I saw on your website. You've got so much going on. So tell us how you think about. Maybe a better question would be, tell us how you think about building an enterprise.
You have to take it really personal.
Yeah.
You have to take it personal and leave space for a personal life. You have to think generationally. My vision in my mind, I'm way beyond thinking about my children we're way as a couple and as a team. My husband and I, we're way beyond thinking of our children being provided for, because that's a given. I mean, they have everything they need, but when it comes down to it, I'm constantly thinking, I would say that started maybe about a year ago, where I started thinking about my great grandkids, you see?
Yeah.
At one point, I was only thinking about my grandkids.
Yeah.
Now I progressed to a place where I'm like great grandkids. Now I'm thinking, okay, so we need to make sure we have a family lawyer. We're getting all of this money set up. These jokers are going to start dating people, so that's scary. So you start thinking, wait, like you have to think business minded. So and it started with me understanding that I was a brand, and that there's a shift. A long time ago, it used to be your product. Your product was the meat, the chunk that people went after. No, there's millions of people doing the same thing, babe. So nothing's really new under the sun. It's about people liking you, and there was this one chef I ran into, and he was just like, he was more of a restaurant chef. I hone myself as being an entertainment chef. I'm not in the back of the house, I'm a people's person, whatever. And he was like, well, look, I'm not for the whole TV thing and blah, blah, blah. And I said, that's the thing. If you're an a-hole, be that. People will respect it. And they'll like you for it. Look at Ramsey. Not saying he is one, but I'm just saying people are really okay with who he is and how he is, So, understanding that you're that brand and hold on to it. Nowadays, people are combing social medias. I think there was someone, before I follow anyone, if you notice my following count is really drastic. Before I follow anyone, especially now, I scan your page a couple months. I need to know what you was doing last summer. And that's real life. You got to do that, because you're like, oh, you want to work with me? Got you. It's really like, it's a branding thing. And then once you understand that you are the brand, no matter what you're doing, if you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you are the brand. My mother was just hospitalized. she has an issue with her lungs. They don't know what it is, right? But and it's not COVID or anything like that. It's just some issue they haven't figured out yet. And we all petitioned for her to change her primary doctor because his character is a little off. You see how who you are affects your money?
Yeah.
You know, that's tons of lab fees you're about to miss out on, whatever you want to do, all of that, right? And I'm saying all that to say is that what I did first was understand that what I put out, who I am, how I decide, how I choose, how I move, it's really essential to you being able to attract people and also keep them.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a hard thing for people to really grasp, you know.
I agree.
A very hard thing.
It's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I was going to say is that was big for me when, and I've told this story, I think I know on the Wealth Edit, but I'm not sure on Wealth Edit Wednesday before, but when I was building Somerset, I was with a large investment firm for a long time. And then I went out on my own with Somerset, and, you know, the group behind us was just so good at marketing. So all of a sudden I went from like having no marketing to like feeling like I had a billboard. I didn't have a billboard. It's just kind of what you feel like when you start the marketing journey. And I came home and my husband, I was like, I don't like all this. This isn't good. And he said, you didn't like it when nobody knew what you did. And now you don't like it when everybody knows what you do. So like, you got to pick. Yeah. And it was so good to hear and just to think about it and the relationship to like, you are your brand. I mean, whether you like it or not, whether you're advocating for your kids at school or building an empire, it doesn't matter. You're your brand.
Right. Right. And people, and this is the thing. This is real, or what the kids say now, this is the gag. It's always been that. But now people are more, people are coming out to be emotionally intelligent now. You know, they're feeling empowered to share their opinions, especially women, you know? So a lot of times you'll think things and just not say them and keep it on the hush. But it really was always that, just now that we know, you know? And now that you know, my biggest thing that I always push to people is that once you know, you can't unknow. You got to do a lot. Man, you have to do a lot of work to unknow something. Think about that. That's not even really a term, but to let go of information once you get it, and once reality has grabbed your face. You ever heard something and thought, or you ever saw someone do something or respond something that forever changed how you view them? It's that same thing. You know, and the more you understand, it's about really who you are. And, you know, a lot of people get, you know, their feathers a little ruffled wrong when they're talking to me. And I say, you know, oh, there's nothing new under the sun. You think everybody else, there's about 20 million different products like yours. People are buying you, period. You know how many, and especially in the entertainment business, you know how many pretty Black chefs they got? The ones that are witty, funny, creative, whatever, have a family backstory. You can try to pull ways to make me unique, something physical that happened that I could produce. It's really just my essence, you know? And that's the thing. People fight so hard to be different, but you're already that. You have your own thumbprint that no one has.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good word. Yeah. Do you,
yeah.
How do you think your family, I mean, that quiet confidence is what so many of us seek. Do you think your family had to do with that? Tell me about your family growing up.
Yeah.
What do you think what do you think did it? If not your family, what do you think it was?
It's part a spiritual grounding, right? And a humbling to know that it's just like one time Beyonce said, I really like to be in the ocean because I remember that I'm small. Mm-hmm. It's a duality. not even duality. It's more than that. We make up something. It's a prismic style of thinking. You know how with a prism, like a mirrored prism, there's like reflections. Once light hit it, it's like, it's like, it's like that. It's like that. It's like that thought process. There's so many sides to it. Like I'm a really big person, but then I'm really small, and then I'm this, and then I'm that. That whole process was introduced from two different ways. One spiritual, one physical. With my parents, physical, you know, they're really get up and roll with it kind of people. Like, you know, I was telling my husband last night, I said, you know, I know you think that, you know, I'm repetitive a certain way with them. And you may find it annoying because, you know, most adults are grown up know-it-alls, right? We forget that the adults you see today are just basically teenagers that were teenagers years ago, right? So, you know, I was telling him, I said, it seems like I'm just being repetitive, but you have to realize, I mean, if either one of us remember anything from psychology class in college, which pretty much every course has you taking psychology, you know, you take that one psychology class, you understand that the inner voice of that grown up is from that parent. So if I'm reiterating certain things by action or by words, it's going to become the hallmark of me. Now, a lot of times that manifests different ways. Like people have issues of thinking they're fat from their parents or thinking they're not good enough, whatever, right? But in this case, I have something that Emily and Ernest time is planted in me so deep. At 9 o'clock, you see this time of the day, 10 o'clock, I already have dinner done. That was put in my mind. If I see people resting, and it hurts me now, but it helps me a lot. If I'm supposed to be resting, I shouldn't be resting because my inner voice is telling me laziness. You know, you don't want to do that. You know, and even when you think biblically, you know, the Message version is a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the arms, and here comes poverty, you know? And it's just like those things, and watching them work so hard, watching them deal with hard times, whether it be, you know, them struggling and, you know, maybe having the energy cut off, or maybe not being able to afford this, or maybe, you know, not being able to afford that, and watching them fumble through everything really fast and just kind of roll with it. One thing my mother told me, my first daughter was born when my sweet 16 birthday, I was in Planned Parenthood, right? And I'll say this, that was actually the only place that didn't treat me like a young whore. And so that place kind of has a place in my heart. And I was there my sweet 16th birthday, and I was finding out that I was pregnant. And after I had the baby, I had a cesarean, and my mother the next morning, she opened up the curtains really, really bright. Now it was interesting. I didn't pair up that to just now that in my house, I have the curtains down because of lighting, but all my curtains are always open, even in my bedroom, all the time. And she opened the curtains, and I said, "What are you doing?" It was like pink outside, so it had to be 6 a.m. And I'm like, she's putting on the news, turn the volume up. And I said, "What are you doing? You know, I just had this baby." She said, "Life don't stop." And she called the nurse and she said, "We need to get this catheter out of her because she needs to walk." Yeah, she needs to start walking now. Well, Mom used to work in the hospital, so she was pulling all kind of stuff when she was in there, you know? But that taught me, you know, when I was younger, you couldn't have caught me to think of it in this light. But I look at it now with 2020 being hindsight, and I tell her, thank you for that moment. She thinks that moment is rough. You know, she's older and looking back over her life, and she thinks, I was too rough. I did this. And I said, no, Ma, no, Ma. I was able to go to work through heartache. I was able to deal through pregnancy, through abuse. I was able to deal with so much stuff and then still come out like this phoenix, like with flames, because you taught me how to, you know, and a good bit of that stillness is knowing that, man, you're gonna be all right. It's uncomfortable, but like they say, but are you dead? You know, did you die? You know, it's kind of like that. And then the spiritual aspects comes in knowing that, man, there's a greater purpose. And when you watch how stuff aligns, you watch how stuff aligns, you know that there's something greater than you. My children were all born in sequence, from oldest to youngest. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. How is that? How is that?
That's
You
crazy.
know, it's crazy. There's so many other things in my life that are like that like things happen in certain orders, even down to, thinking about how they do things, the type of gifts they have and stuff like that. And I'm watching them and I'm like, man, this is all in flow. This is all in sequence. And when you know that there's a greater power when you really connect with the knowing spiritually, outside of religion, outside of anything, to know that, man, I don't have a battery connected to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just living and thinking right now. That's so much bigger. I know somebody, you're not connected to a plug, you know that, right?
I know. As many plugs as I have around me right now, that is like a real good analogy for me right now. So that's awesome.
Our house is practically smart. I can tell Alexa to do all kinds of things. And I'm not connected to nothing.
That's right. Praise the Lord for that. Well, tell me this. We're going to switch gears for a little bit to talking about money. Women have a really hard time talking about money in general. But in our pre-call, I learned that you're very good at this. And so teach us kind of like how you think about that and how you pass that on to your children, because I think you weave these conversations in fairly effortlessly, and it's just neat to watch.
I think that, I know that women have a problem at base with power, right? And you always hear me go down to bases, because even with losing weight after each baby, you have to go down to the base of why you have a eating issue, or why you do this or why you do that, in order to whatever, right? I just posted that recently on one of my social media platforms. I said, I figured out how to lose the weight on the inside first, the weight on the inside, and then the weight on the outside melted. So it's the same thing with that. At base is power. And then when you get to being a believer, you have to realize that just how cultures have colloquialisms, right? Religion has colloquialisms too. So you have to be constantly in it, but not of it. People think of that as just the world platform, like, oh, I'm gonna be in the world, not of it. No. You need to be in everything and not of it, because it all has these essences that follow you. One of the essences being that, to be meek, the meek shall inherit the earth. What is meek? Ever moldable, ever changeable, adaptable, like whatever. But people look at one side of meek only, and they tend to get to this place where they think, oh, well, to be humble, I have to be lowly. To be this, I have to be that. They put these things together when no, like, that's not the case. And then we go on to the third thing, which is credit. People don't like taking credit because credit equals pressure. People don't realize that. Because if someone, that's why you notice, and they pass it off passive aggressively, like, oh, I give God all the glory, I give God all the glory. God has the glory, you're not giving it. You can't give something to the creator like that. I mean, God's God, so you're not you're passing off the weight. That's what you're essentially doing. Because that's what a lot of women fight. When I counsel women, I realize whether it's a mother, an entrepreneur, both, all three, whatever, wife, I notice that, oh, y'all, you don't want to feel the weight of the credit, because the weight of the credit of a thing, that means you got to constantly produce. People look at me and they say that I'm driven. They give me credit for, and which I understand because I work at it, everything I do, they give me credit for. But I had to accept that people don't want to hear how I'm doing. People want to know what I'm doing. That's pressure, you know? And that's what happens with women. You know, they have all of those different things playing in play. And then you top on top the frosting, because I listed those things. We have the frosting on the cake, and the frosting becomes, what does society feel? So women aren't this, women aren't that, women should just be chosen, whatever. So all of those things make you afraid of power, and people associate power with being a B, period. So if you're ambition, you're driven, you're smart, you're a B. Nobody wants to be looked at that. So everyone is walking around dumbing themselves now. I don't want to be as strong as I am. I don't want to be as smart as I am, because I don't want you to feel that I'm this, you know? And I think that's the base issue with women when it comes down to it's a plethora of things that's lined up that we have to systematically attack. And then once we attack it, you know, it's not really, it becomes effortless only because once you realize that you're the key factor in everything around you, when you deal with you, you're dealing with everything at once. You know, I deal with my issue of self-worth. I've taken care of self-worth for my children, you know, and that's how you kind of weave it in, because it becomes whatever becomes your mind state becomes your gap, you know, from the heart, you know, what speaketh from the heart, whatever comes from your heart, you speak it out naturally, right? I'm doing my makeup upstairs. Bina, the 3-year-old, is sitting on the dresser, you know, poking at stuff, doing stuff 3-year-olds do. And I told her no. She said, I don't like that word. I said, a lot of us don't like that word. We don't like that word. And I talk like this to my kids all the time, because kids have great understanding very, very young. And, you know, I have these conversations, and peep this. I tell her, I said, people don't like hearing the word no, but sometimes you need to hear the word no. And she said, why? I said, because sometimes that no is like a yes. She said, but it's not the same word though. But it's not the same word. That's what she was saying to me, because she was saying it's not the same. She didn't say it's not the same word though, but she said it's not the same word. Yeah, it's not the same word, but sometimes it just really depends on how you perceive it. Now, it seems like, Toya, you did all of that talking to a 3-year-old. It's going to pop up later. I remember what I ate in preschool. I remember cream of wheat, which we call farina in New Orleans. You know, we had farina, you know, and we ate farina in the morning. I remember what the blocks smelled like in the preschool place. It smelled like that cardboardy, woody smell. Like, I remember stuff from preschool. You know, kids really remember things, and things are implanted subconsciously. So essentially, the work isn't so much conveying it to the kids, it's conveying it to you. You're the source.
That's a really good point. I think about that all the time. Our kids are just listening all the time. They're watching how we handle things. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And that goes for anything. And it doesn't have to be very, it doesn't have to be this real intense thing like you're talking about. You don't have to have these real intentional moments, even though it's good to be aware. But I mean, the stuff my kids repeat to me, we talk about money a lot in our house, and I'm raising all daughters. And I think I want to normalize that for them in my little part. And it's amazing that what they pick up. It's awesome. So it's a tiny moment, and it's a good moment. So, well, so there's so much more that we could talk about, but we try to limit the time a little bit. So maybe you can come on again, but tell us why you said yes to the Wealth Edit. It's so important for women like you to talk about money. You do it so well. Wealth building. Why did you say yes to us? We like to ask all of our people who come on this question.
I said yes. 2 reasons. One, I go by spirit with everything, you know, and I sense and I know, and I say yes. I know when something is, or when I need to meet someone eternally. because though I'm not seeing everyone, I can't see anyone nor see names, of anyone that's on. So, but I know for a fact the timing of it, the moment I looked at it, all that said yes to whatever eternal connection I needed to make or influence with someone who's going to be watching or listening, right? And the second thing is that, wealth is nothing to be feared. And, whatever way you need to frame up God being God, whatever beliefs place you're at or you're in, you have to know that higher, like omnipotent one being needs you to have wealth, and not just wealth financially, but wealth internally. Because like, think about this. I would never create my children and put them in lack. Why would I? Lack and humility are two different things in two different places. People match them up to be lowly, to be this, to be that, to be whatever. No, like wealth is specific for the person, and wealth is well-rounded. But you do need financial ability, because, even though, you could say, well, I don't need this and I don't need this fancy thing and this, because somebody come in my house and say, well, yeah, I don't need a digital toaster, Toya. I don't need that. We don't need a toaster like that. I get you don't need that, right? But there are some things that you do financially that free up things, and you can't buy time. I watch Bill Gates. I study a lot of people who I admire, and some I don't want to go down their path. So I study their path to see what they did. But also the people that I do admire, when I saw one of the things with Bill Gates, how he moved and how he did something. He said, because his team was saying he's always on time. Like, he will beat you to the table and whatever, because he said, out of all things I can buy, I can't buy time. Why would I misuse it? And, it's just like I mentioned about my daughter's birthday. I did just what I said. I did not get in here fried chicken because she said fried chicken, gravy and rice, and she wanted a hot cocoa cake, right? And I knew I could throw that gravy together in about 10 to 15 minutes, the rice around the same time, I could cook them at the same time. That's 20 minutes out the time frame. And on the way there, I could sit in heaven driving her car to go pick up chicken tenders from this place. Money just brought me 2 hours, right? Because that's cooking, prep, clean, all of that. And even if I didn't have, say I cut it down to only using an hour to essentially cook chicken. Yeah, I used only an hour to cook, but I just took time from someone else, because guess what? Someone else is going to come home and clean the kitchen. You see how my decisions are like literally puppeteering someone else's life? And the more we realize that, and we realize, oh, so wealth isn't just about me having things and saying I have things, it's really about me being able to give exactly what I need to give on this planet, whether it be me giving energy and time, or whether it be me giving money. Like in the top of the year, I saw this girl that I follow. She makes really nice cakes on Instagram. Sow a seed into her, find out her Cash App, sow a seed, and that's exactly what I did. I'm going to mind my business and just give the money and walk off.
Right.
Because whatever she needs it for, that's none of my business. I don't care if she needed to go sit in the parking lot and hide from her kids for a moment, Sometimes we all need to do that, but, I want to let people know that it's okay to have nice things. It's okay to do whatever, but do it within a good fanning perspective. Like, for instance, in a world of everyone's doing a lot of going out to eat, doing a lot of different things, like, as far as picking up food, whatever. And some things I just won't buy, and I just won't whatever, because I'm like, I could spend all of this money on this, because you got to buy food, then tip, then this, then that. Or I could take that same $100 and something, buy matching pajamas, spend $20 more buying a bunch of crazy Christmas snacks, and then we have a Christmas tree trimming party. Or, I could use $400 on buying a new pair of shoes or a new bag, right? Guess what I'm gonna do? 200 a pop. Yeah, it's about 200 a pop to buy my husband and the oldest boy's skates. I moved all the furniture one day, and my oldest daughter and myself, we skated around the house, and we put the music on surround sound, and then we realized, oh snap, like we could really skate in this house. Like it's all hard floors. So now we back.
We're back. We're back. Oh, and it was such a good story too. Just talking about skating in the house, and I want to skate in my house now.
Thank you. So skating in the house and stuff like that, right? But you got to realize COVID has a ton of bad memories for everybody. Mm-hmm. And now we're producing good ones, but at some point, we'll be able to do all of it at once. But there's just making those choices, and in teaching your children, we had to explain to the kids one time because they see a lot of stuff on social media, and I said, look, such and such is buying this and buying that, but I prefer to have, a hurricane fund. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We have a hurricane fund. So the kids know that my husband teaches a financial literacy class for families and youth on Udemy. And he held a class inside of the house for the kids where we had to show them money in their account and show them how to move stuff. He did a spreadsheet on a TV. He put it to the TV. And they looked at it like, wait, so why would I spend $50 or $60 a month on streaming? Mm-hmm. Why would I? Man, I don't watch TV like that. I don't, and you're watching them and you're thinking, oh, it's nice. It's your money now. You notice it now. Before, you were dying because we didn't have Disney Plus. Yeah. But now I got it. You see now, and I watch them make those kind of decisions now. And it's like, so you're 8 years old. You've been holding on to $30.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Oh gosh, that is so fun. Well, you're I don't know if you're able to read these chats, but everyone's saying that they love your spirit and that your energy is contagious. It's so everyone's excited.
I'm tech savvy right here, and then on Zoom, I'm lost. One day I had a Zoom call, and one of the kids put like a background on it, and I couldn't get it off. 5 because I am instantly 89 doing this. I don't know. Someone's going to have to walk me through this because I can't take the palm trees behind me. This has to go.
It's got to go. They got to go. We can't go there. It's a sore subject. That's so funny. Well, thank you so much for being with us. I hope you'll come on again and visit with us. And you are a treasure. So what's your Instagram handle so we can all follow you and get a little bit more of this?
Oh, my Instagram is Chef Toya. Pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
And I also have a podcast on all streaming platforms called The Five Senses. And it teaches you, oh my God, girl.
I need a new podcast. This is perfect. This is so good.
When I tell you I unpacked, I was in the shower, I've been, and I'm gonna be quick. I had spent the past 2 days just saying out loud randomly to God, I surrender. Because I knew my insides, so many things are moving that sometimes I have to try to sit still. And I know that I was being forced to say that to get the download for season 4. I released 3 seasons and 33 episodes on December 3rd. Wow. And that was 8. And I did that in 13 days. Okay. But it's just timing and wait, so you had time to laugh and eat and cook and clean? Yep. I did.
And skate.
Yeah, and skate. Girl, when I told you that was so fun. My mama looked when I told her, because she was in the hospital when I was telling her about it. She said, you did what? Girl, we moved everything and realized, oh my God, this is wood and tile. we have surround sound. We need a dating list. It was just like crazy. Everybody was going nuts. Like, I cannot believe this, that we could skate in the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the podcast is the five senses, and it's me teaching you how, a novice cook and a great cook, the difference between the two is that the great cook is always using their senses. On the trailer, I tell a story about how when I first married my husband, he was like, how come you don't need a timer for the cookies? Normal cooks just act like they're just cool like that. But I'm honest. I know the real deal. I smell chocolate, so I know it's done. I smell chocolate. If I smell chocolate, I know it's done. If the chicken smells super delicious, it's done. But that's my senses telling me what to do. But that same thing happens in life. Our senses, life tells us so much stuff ahead of time, but we don't pay attention. We accept truth, and which is I'm gonna give you a blip from season 4, hasn't come out yet, but we have a problem of accepting truth as opinion when it should be really fact. And that's our problem.
Yeah.
That we look at, that's your opinion. No, it's not, baby. That's the truth. The sky is up there. That's true. So yeah, keep in touch with me, y'all. I mean, yeah, life is a little tricky, but it takes a village in all areas.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Well, we can't wait to get together in person when that's safe and fun. And I really one of the best things, what? Right? I see you. There you go.
TT, you want to say hi, Bina?
Oh my gosh, you're so cute. Thanks for letting us share your mommy.
She said that's
minutes.
That's shout out to Coco Melon.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Well, you have a good rest of your day. We'll catch up soon.
All right. Bye. Nice meeting everyone.
Bye.